Well, it's a negotiation, but we've got off to the worst possible starts because the Prime Minister called an election that she didn't need to call. It's not clear what her mandate is, and she's lost authority abroad. Now, all of us want these talks to succeed because we do need a good deal for Britain that's going to last for generations. But we've got off to the worst possible start, I'm afraid.
Well, let's talk about the outcome.
Yeah.
Customs Union. You've been a little equivocal on the Customs Union, but I think if I reduce your position to the clearest and what I think would make sense from your point of view is you would start out by saying, yes, let's go into the Customs Union if they'll have us, even if that means we can't make free trade deals with other countries independently.
Well, let me try and answer that, but it is important to focus on the outcomes and not the model. And that's really important because we're starting negotiations and the question that's before everybody is, what is it that you want to achieve through this? What's the outcome that you want? And the vehicle or the model is secondary to that. And we've been clear that it's tariff-free access to the single market, it's no new customs impediments, and it's something that works for services.
And but interestingly, that is the thing that everybody agrees on. So that's not interesting.
The EU will then have its priorities, and I think its priorities are likely to be, how do we guarantee or ensure that the UK doesn't be able to sort of undercut regulations and to reduce workplace rights, because that would, to them, be a threat. So that goes on the table. We have to negotiate.
I can't understand why you can't make your mind up on the Customs Union. It's a very simple one. You can stay in the Customs Union, probably.
Well, let me.
But you give up your right to free trade deals. You're either in favour of that or you're not. It's quite binary.
Let me take that head on.
Right.
Because as far as the Customs Union is concerned, the question whether it's better to be in or out can only be determined further down the line. Because you need to know first, what's the deal you've done on the single market? Does it, at the end of the exercise, make more sense to stay in or stay out? There are advantages of being out. There are significant advantages of being in. So that's why we say leave it on the table. There are advantages. It solves a lot of real difficulties. Of course, it means you can't strike free trade agreements.
But you're happy not to be able to.
But it's important to see this through. Everyone wants a clipped answer. Everyone wants a clipped answer. These are complex negotiations. But if you stay in, you can take the benefit of those trade agreements that the EU is striking and which we could strike with them.
There's an element of fudge in the Labour position.
It's not fudge, it's actually recognising
which is probably designed to hold together a broad coalition of many blue-collar workers who voted Brexit, many metropolitan liberals who voted Remain, and you're trying to effectively be all things to everybody by not quite saying, by not making an argument.
I think
we should be in the Customs Union because that's going to help car producers, it's going to mean no border in Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland.
There are those huge advantages. There are those huge.
But why don't you just make the case and say, why don't we just go in and make that the objective?
Because until you're further into negotiations, it's not entirely clear whether it's the right option or the wrong option. I think it's the right option. I think we should have it on the table, and there are real advantages of staying in. But to suggest this is just a political fudge is wrong.
Let's talk about the migration issue, because there is one option which would probably cut through a lot of the negotiation. I think everybody agrees complete free movement is not going to happen. You're not in favour of that anymore, nor are the Conservatives. But there's a kind of a watered down version of free movement of labour.
Yeah.
If you have a job, you can come here, but you can't just come here and live here without any work to do. Are you attracted to that? Because they may be quite attracted to that as a British starting
I am attracted to that. We'd have to work out what that looked like. But with freedom of movement and immigration, it's important to strip out, obviously, refugees we have obligations to, students shouldn't be in the numbers. That leaves you families and people who want to come to work. And I think that we could strike a model that deals with people who want to come to work, because whatever the outcome, it's got to work for the economy and for our communities. And we don't want arbitrary caps on migration that would crash the economy.
You see, I think you've got a quite clear position.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, but you sure as hell don't make it sound clear. You should go in.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
You should go in and say, free movement of labour in the Customs Union. We won't strike deals with America and India. That's our position. It'll save us a lot of time in this negotiation. That solves Northern Ireland. We'll recognise the citizens. Incidentally, you would accept ECJ, the European Court, having jurisdiction over various issues
Well,
as
I
well.
think-
So that cut through a lot of other things which are going to be...
Just to be clear on that, I mean, I think we've said that there has to be some dispute resolution mechanism, a court-like body, and that's a big hole in Theresa May's plans.
So you would accept the ECJ as...
Well, not necessarily the
There's some
ECJ.
evidence.
I think there's a discussion to be had about what that looks like and what the role of British judges are on it.
Keir Starmer, thank you very much.
Thank you.